Collision! That is the name of AEW's new television program that has been announced to be starting on Saturday the 17th of June. We're going to be discussing that today here on BunkaMania Wrestling. Good day, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I am the giraffe, me, Jeremy Graves. I am joined by the Dekker, Dane, Mr. Ian Bolton. Today, the focus, as mentioned, is AEW Collision. Whether you are joining us on the video version here on YouTube or you're listening in the audio-only realm, thank you very much for checking out this video today. And if you enjoyed the video, why not hit that like button? Or if you feel so inclined, why not subscribe to this podcast as well? We would really appreciate that. Good sir, to get things going, Collision, this announcement as a whole, what are your sort of initial thoughts on this?
Well, for starters, on a wider scale for AEW fans, really, really good news. More content's coming their way. Big show content as well. 2-hour show. Clearly being positioned as a Saturday night fight entertainment sort of thing. There is all that. I think the thing for me is kind of like it's just more wrestling content. And the wrestling's going on forever, Jeremy. It's going on. We're going to keep wrestling until the wrestling winners have been decided. It will never know who will actually win the wrestling, but your best bet is with probably TNT and probably Fight TV for everyone else.
Yeah, you're not wrong on that. And so I suppose in terms of my thoughts on this, because as I said, you've readily admitted, you like AEW, as I said, but you're not an avid watcher like I am who tries to consume as much of I'll at least say television shows, because I never watched Dark or Dark Elevation. I've only got so many hours in my life. So my immediate thought is, are they planning to make this another A-rank show, i.e. Dynamite, in terms of importance? Or is this just relatively quickly going to become sort of what Rampage has become, which quite frankly isn't essential viewing at this point? That's going to be a key element to me.
Yeah, I think this, by how this has been presented, obviously in like Warner Brothers Discovery up front, and I think it's like an American sort of thing for American TV networks to kind of highlight what their choice shows of the upcoming season is going to be or for the next year. So the fact that Collision has been placed in that position tells me that I think they're going to try and view it at the same level as Dynamite, which is a good thing, because as much as Rampage has had a few good moments, iconic moments as well, if you talk about like the return of CM Punk or even Christian versus Omega in the
first episode of Rampage, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first ever Rampage as well. I think the fact is like Rampage started well, and it has felt a bit filler, and it's just not been kind of like routine viewing. Whereas if you look at, say, if you do look at the WWE product, for example, Raw and SmackDown, they become kind of appointment viewing for their fans because they're obviously telling bigger stories on their respective rosters. So I think Collision is an opportunity to either continue stories on a second show or just probably with the slight subtle hint that there might be a brand split coming with Collision. Maybe it's an opportunity for some of the other AEW wrestlers who have not necessarily had the greatest of exposure to fans per se and to audiences. It gives them a chance to really step into the spotlight a little bit.
A very fair point. And in terms of talent that will be appearing on Collision, the poster that was released in conjunction with this announcement, it included, notably, Samoa Joe, who is the ROH television champion if memory serves, Thunder Rosa, who has been out of action for quite a long time, and based on some scuttlebutt online, isn't necessarily ready to come back to the ring yet. Perhaps a different topic entirely. Powerhouse Hobbs, which I think is a great choice because he is someone who really comes across well on screen, just on television in general. So I think having him be one of the figurehead talent is a great idea and building him up. There is also Andrade El Idolo, who we have not seen in literally months since the whole backstage fight with Sammy Guevara thing happened. So with the idea of a brand split, one would say it might make sense that him and Sammy are not on the same show. But he's a great wrestler and a great talent to have being at the upper end of your card. Additionally, FTR are on the poster, the current AEW Tag Team Champions. Miro, who of course we've not seen in freaking forever at this point, again, has not been around for a while, but is someone who you could definitely have in the upper echelon of the show. And finally, all 4 members of the House of Black, Brody King, Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Julia Hart, are on the poster. Additionally, though, it's worth saying, right slap bang in the middle, international champion Orange Cassidy, world champion MJF. So those names already give you a very interesting indication as to where the show might be going. But it also does raise some questions in that you've got a lot of champions on your poster. Is that just to have champions on your poster, or is that an indication as to talent who may be, quote unquote, exclusive on that show?
I think we haven't had a proper full, sort of an announcement from Tony Khan and AEW onto how championships are going to work with Collision, if they go ahead and actually go ahead with an actual brand split per se. I mean, I think they might be kind of going with the idea that if you are an AEW champion, you can flirt between both Collision and Dynamite and see what happens. So that gives you more. So it gives you additional storylines for certain characters on different brands, which again opens up the possibilities, which is quite nice. But yeah, it's either that or I don't think they'll take a page out of WWE's book. I think they won't, of say setting up different championships. I mean, to be perfectly honest, you can send the TNT champion to one show, you can send the international champion to another. Trios and tag team can kind of jump between shows. AEW World Champ can also just jump between shows. So if you're going to make titles kind of exclusive, you could possibly do it at the TBS and the World Women's Championship as well. There's some options there, but until I think we get proper confirmation of what's going on, then it's hard to say. But I would be very surprised if they kind of said no, these champions are now exclusive to these shows. I think talent who don't have belts could be made exclusive to shows, and I think having those stars mentioned on the Collision press release kind of gives credence that might very well be the case very soon. I mean, there's more announcements to come next week, I think.
Yeah, they're going to be announcing where the premiere date show is going to be happening, which has been heavily rumored to be the United Center in Chicago for point of reference. But they also then announced another 5 or 6 dates, the dates after. Because there's going to now be episode 2 of Collision, if you will be the night before Forbidden Door. Then they'll be taping the 3rd episode after the post-Forbidden Door Dynamite, the following day after it, I should say. Then every Saturday, as it were, after that, a couple in Canada and then one in New Jersey. That's the first 6 episodes, as it were. So they're really going all in on this, which of course raises another random question of, if you've got a Saturday show, are you now magically gonna have a show before All In? I'm gonna say right now, though this can be saved for a bigger discussion another time in a different podcast, I'm gonna say no. I think they will pre-tape that, because if your debut show is at Wembley Stadium, you ain't gonna change that for the sake of your Saturday night television show.
Yeah, I mean, WWE do that with their Saudi shows. They'll double tape episodes. I think chances are they'll probably double tape SmackDown this week to cover this week, and then the SmackDown before Night of Champions.
Exactly. So a different thing I would like to touch on is the aesthetic of Collision, because the actual logo for the show, it's very reminiscent of what I will describe as classic WCW Monday Nitro, which, being a far too big fan of WCW from back in the day, I am all for this. I also would hope that the actual presentation of the show will feel a lot different, because they've obviously got their Dynamite set, which is also the Rampage set, and also ROH some weeks as well now, I believe, as well. But I would really like it if this had a different entrance. Heck, I'll even say it, go back to the old Dynamite set to be the Collision set. I just think it would be really nice if there were 2 completely different feeling shows. As much as I love the current look of Dynamite, it looks really cool. I think this is a chance just to have a very nice different aesthetic. Heck, why not have that old WCW Nitro entrance with just a load of the truss, that the 3 layers of truss? It just looks really cool and classic. I think it'd be fun.
Just have classic automatic doors, zoom, as people walk into to collide. If you want them to collide, again,
that's like WCW Saturday Night, I think, from back in the day.
Ring designer Dane's in play here. Have like I said for the WWF Invasion video that we did many months ago, nearly over a year ago. Ramp on each side of the ring. done. They're colliding in the middle of the ring. Collision. See? Synergy.
It would just
it works.
just imagine it though. You have the entrance either side, the big ass ramp, and just in the middle of that, just the word collision.
Basically, every match needs to start with the wrestlers just running at each other and collided in the middle. And then whatever happens, happens.
Another interesting, this is a really random point. It's also interesting to me they've specifically called it AEW Saturday Collision. They've just really emphasized the Saturday, and it's like, okay, obviously it's going to be on a Saturday, but for some reason, Saturday being in the title feels somewhat alien, yet weirdly, I'm fine with it.
I mean, the commentators go, it's Wednesday night, you know what that means, or Wednesday night Dynamite, Friday night Rampage. It's obviously they're not the full official titles, but it's just kind of Saturday night Collision. There you go. It just kind of it tries to roll off the tongue. I mean, I'm not kind of looking too much into that, but it's like fair enough. You want to call it kind of. I mean, it is still referred to as Collision, so I think they've just said that the Saturday is theirs. So like
as a logo thing, more
yeah, as a logo thing anyway. Yeah, just remind people what day it's on.
Yeah. I guess one other point before we could sort of gradually start to wind this discussion down, just the name Collision for a show name. What do you think of it?
I think I'm going to need some time. I mean, Rampage felt very right. If Rampage felt like a right name, Dynamite feels like a good name. Collision, I'm not sure. I think it will grow on me. I think it's just maybe once I get a sense more of the branding, like with a theme tune and a stage and stuff like that. If I go, okay, this is what Collision's supposed to feel like, then maybe I'll get a better idea. But I'm not too fussed with it. I mean, it's a decent little name, I suppose. I mean, what other wrestling names have I ever called my WWE my created WWE shows? I mean, I've created ones like Fusion, that's Inferno. I like those sort of names. Inferno, Fusion. For pay-per-views, I would have gone with Victorious, Carnage, No Hold. Yeah, it's like you kind of just go in for like just pull out the random sort of things. But yeah, I think Collision is an all right name. I think it will grow on me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat as you on that. I'm for want of a perfect word, I think at the moment I'm just indifferent to it. It's like, okay, that's the name of it. It doesn't make me think, like Collision, you know. In the context of wrestling, I just think it's like Logan Paul and Ricochet jumping on like doing the springboard spot at the Rumble. That's what I think of when I hear the word Collision now, basically.
Just Ricochet Saturday night and Logan Paul is Collision in the middle. Kasploom, kaboom. Obviously, it's the wrong blooming roster in the wrong company.
Exactly right.
Could have a better name. Saturday Showdown. Done.
I bet you someone's already got that trademark.
It's probably true. Saturday Night Takeaway. No one uses that, do they? Not in the UK. Certainly by Hands on Deck. AEW Saturday Night Takeaway.
Not by the two biggest variety show presenters in the UK at all. No, not them, you know. So I guess to sort of wind this down, obviously CM Punk has been the talk of the town, and it was heavily rumored he was going to be announced as being part/exclusive to Collision. At the time we're recording this, which for point of reference is sort of late in the evening on Thursday the 18th of May, the word going around is he was going to be announced. There were marketing materials seemingly created, but then they were basically told, pull him out of it. Like, remove all mention from him. And they managed to do that apart from one thing, apparently. But something seemingly has come up, which is why they also didn't announce where the initial premiere date episode is going to be, because if in theory Punk's going to, or should be there, if that's what you were planning, and the show was going to be built around him, you might not want to do a show in Chicago that week, let's just say. So whether Punk will ultimately be on it or not, I guess we'll find out next week, quite frankly, because one would assume they're either going to start heavily promoting a specific tagline to imply you should be there if you're in Chicago, or they'll just outright say he's going to be there, one or the other.
Yeah, to be perfectly blunt, I don't care right now. It's like, I think we've talked about this before. I'm very tired of the CM Punk stuff right now, and it's basically he comes back now. Right, fine. Let's just get on with the wrestling, please.
Yeah, so we're not gonna, like, for want of a better word, dwell on the
Nah.
potential Punk stuff because, quite frankly, until it's actually official, there isn't really much more to say about it. And I guess on that note, then, sir, any other thoughts on this before we conclude here today?
No, but I'm excited to collide with the show when it starts. I probably will watch like the first episode or two just to get a good feel of it, really. But yeah, again, it's just like I will catch up with the storylines, like with reviews and stuff like that, and obviously watch matches that get highlighted a lot. But it's kind of like there's a lot of wrestling to watch. There's so much wrestling, Jeremy. Why is there so much wrestling, Jeremy?
In terms of where it's going to air, obviously it's going to be on TNT in America. There's no sort of international TV deal confirmed, but early scuttlebutt is suggesting when it comes to Fight TV, it will be part of the AEW Plus subscription. So
It
more
kind of
than
has
likely,
to.
that's where we'll be able to watch it.
Yeah, kind of has to, doesn't it?
Exactly. With that being said, everybody, let us know what you think about this Collision announcement. Do you agree or disagree with anything we've said? Let us know in the comments. And of course, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, excuse me. If you want to, please hit the subscribe button. We've got videos coming out weekly on a variety of topics, so hopefully you will enjoy listening to those. And of course, if you're listening to us in the audio-only realm, thank you very much for checking us out on your podcast provider of choice. Do tell a friend about the show. We would really appreciate it. Good sir, if people want to drop us an email to convey their thoughts, what's the best way to do that?
Why, they can collide an email with our inbox by going to contact@bunkamania.com.
There we go, folks. From myself, Jeremy Grace, from him, the Dekker Dane, Mr. Ian Bolton, thank you very much for listening to this show. Take care and speak to you soon.